This is Valley News Live at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. The dense fog has contributed to several crashes around the valley today, and now we're preparing for rapidly changing weather conditions. Everything from rain to sleet to snow, depending on where you live. Let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson with what you can expect on this first alert weather day. Hutch?
Thanks, Stacy. Good evening, everyone. I got to tell you, if you're looking at the forecast and you're hearing about tornado watches in parts of Minnesota and winter storm warnings and all of that going across the bottom of your screen, we do have some heavy snow in the forecast for our viewing area. And in fact, Fargo will sit right on the edge of where the heaviest snow will be. Let's get right to it. Let's not make you wait. First and foremost, by the time you arise and shine on Thursday morning, we're expecting a band of heavy snow where you see the 4 to 8 inch area here. Plus, we're going to see a few areas with even more than 8. And in fact, I would not be surprised to see little pockets of a foot or more of snow. Why? In thunderstorms, we have convection, and convection can really increase snowfall rates to the tune of 1 to 2 inches per hour. And when that happens, along with winds gusting to 50 to 70 miles per hour, things can get pretty treacherous pretty quickly. Here's where the storm is now, and take a look at it. You're like, oh, that's a long ways away, Hutch. When does it get here? It's on its way right now. Now, we have tornado watches. We have tornado warnings on the ground. And they're about 85 miles away from the southwest corner of Minnesota. So within an hour, they arrive there. 85 mile per hour gusts, not miles per gallon. And multiple confirmed tornadoes have already happened with this storm system. It's moving to the north. It's 230 miles an hour, 230 miles away from our viewing area. So about 3 hours, in that 6 o'clock hour, it should be arriving in our viewing area with thunder east and snow west. And yes, heavy snow bands are possible. Did you know, Stacy, November 16th to 31, that was the latest season tornado ever. December tornadoes unheard of in Minnesota. It could very well happen and likely will tonight. Details in the forecast, hour by hour style, in a moment.
Yeah, looking forward to checking again soon. Thanks, Hutch.
Yeah.
Make sure you have the Valley News Live Storm Team weather app handy. Just search VNL Weather in the App Store. You can download it for free to stay up to date on the very latest weather conditions. A father and son are safe after they had to be rescued from ice. The Red Lake Police Department says the two anglers got stuck on the massive ice yesterday as it drifted from shore. David Berard of Red Lake and Wilfred Berard of Blaine, Minnesota weren't hurt. Authorities are now issuing warnings about heading out on the ice with the recent warmer temperatures and high winds. Xcel Energy is warning Minnesota customers that damaging winds and freezing temperatures could cause possible power outages. Xcel is staging employees who will work to get the lights back on if customers lose power tonight. The company says you should have a plan in place in case you experience an outage, and contact Xcel immediately so they can deploy their crews. You can reach them through their mobile app or by calling or texting at the information there on your screen. New for you at 4, firefighters helped remove a driver from their vehicle after a crash in Otter Tail County. Officials say a Subaru Forester driven by a 74-year-old woman from Henning collided with a pickup driven by a 27-year-old man from Purom. That happened earlier today just west of Wadena. The Wadena County Fire Department helped get the woman out of her vehicle. Both people were taken to Tri-County Health with non-life-threatening injuries. At the time of the crash, that dense fog advisory was in effect. Customers of Glosser Images are just now starting to receive their pictures. However, we're learning today that some pictures are going out to the wrong customers and even to people who were never customers of the photography business. One woman says she's concerned that her baby pictures have been sent to the wrong email address. Another took to social media asking if anyone knows the people in the pictures that were sent to her today. Hundreds of people were impacted by the sudden October closure of Glosser Images. Many couples were left with questions as to what to do next. We have reached out to the attorney for Glosser Images today. He hasn't responded. We have new information on a UND aircraft that had to make an emergency landing. University officials say 2 members of a student flying team were on the plane when it started shaking and partially losing power on Saturday. The team was flying in UND's practice area, but were not close enough to the Northwood Airport to make a proper landing. They safely made an emergency landing on a county road near Northwood and later moved the plane out of the way to avoid blocking traffic. Preliminary reports indicate there was an issue with the plane's cylinders. No one was hurt. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin formally changed his plea from not guilty to guilty today on federal charges of depriving George Floyd of his civil rights. Chauvin is currently serving a state prison sentence for Floyd's murder. He was charged in May with 2 separate federal counts of deprivation of rights under color of law. The family of George Floyd responded to the change in plea.
I don't expect an apology, and I don't honestly care to have one. He knew what he was doing. He had 9 minutes and 29 seconds to understand what he was doing and stop kneeling. He chose not to.
Now, as part of a plea agreement, federal charges will be dismissed in a separate incident involving a neck restraint used on a teenager back in 2017. Prosecutors say they will ask for a 25-year sentence to run concurrently with his current sentence. A judge will issue the final sentence at a later hearing. It's day 5 of testimony in the trial of former police officer Kim Potter. The prosecution referenced the taser user manual today and several warnings that it shouldn't be fired at anyone operating a motor vehicle. The Brooklyn Center police commander was questioned on department policies and on the extensive training Potter received, including a taser certification in the month before she shot Daunte Wright. The jury was shown several pictures of Potter through the years, always wearing your taser the same way. Well, the defense argued that people respond based on their current situations. President Biden touched down in Kentucky today to see the tornado damage for himself and meet with survivors. At least 74 people died in that state and dozens are still unaccounted for. This is the president's 5th visit to a natural disaster site after just 11 months in office. CBS's Laura Podesta is on the ground in Mayfield.
President Biden surveyed the destruction from the air and the ground, seeing what's left of homes, businesses, and lives in tornado-ravaged Kentucky. The president came to offer personal comfort and federal support to residents cleaning up after 5 twisters tore through the state, including one that carved a path some 200 miles long.
I think the vast majority of Americans know what you've been through just looking on the television.
President Biden told officials in Mayfield help is available both now and down the line.
There may be things available that would be helpful 6 weeks and 6 months from now that you're unaware of. And so I've instructed my team to make you all aware of everything that is available from a federal level.
Kentucky's First Lady walked with Mr. Biden and acknowledged the difficulties ahead.
This is not something that is going to end in weeks or months. It's going to take years.
Debris is being cleared and hauled away. The sound of construction is heard throughout Mayfield. FEMA teams are out in neighborhoods with iPads helping residents sign up for federal aid.
The long-term impact may be even more pronounced for the youngest survivors.
Terrifying. I thought I was gonna die or something.
9-year-old Angel Ortiz was with his mother in their Bowling Green house when the walls collapsed.
So it made like a little roof to protect us, but still it was like I started freaking out and all that. Started yelling for help.
The tornado took the lives of 7 children in Angel's community. Laura Podesta, CBS News, Mayfield, Kentucky.
More than 30 tornadoes tore through Kentucky and 7 other states over the weekend, killing a total of 88 people. Now, you can donate directly to the Salvation Army's disaster relief efforts by texting HL Tornado to 51555. You can also donate online by going to valleynewslive.com and clicking on this story. Your entire donation will go toward the disaster relief operation you select. Governor Doug Burgum is on the Texas border with Mexico today, visiting 125 North Dakota National Guard soldiers assisting U.S. Customs and Border Protection in their efforts to secure the border. The Army requested that mobilization as a continuation of the Southern Border military mission that began in 2018. The 957th Engineer Company is expected to be deployed there for about a year. Burgum's role as governor also includes the title of Commander-in-Chief of the North Dakota National Guard. The last of the child tax credit payments went out today unless the Senate can pass President Biden's Build Back Better legislation before the new year. Families received up to $300 per child on the 15th of every month, but the expanded tax credit program is expiring unless Congress passes the roughly $2 trillion social and environmental bill into law. Republicans have voiced opposition to that larger policy bill, arguing it's too big and costly at a time of rising inflation. President Biden is working with Democrats to pass the package through reconciliation, but that will only work if all Democrats in the Senate support the bill, and Democratic Senator Joe Manchin has been a key holdout. In order for families to receive checks in January, that bill must be passed by December 28th. Federal health officials say the Omicron variant may now account for 13% of COVID cases in some areas of the country, including New York and New Jersey. The cases are expected to increase heading into the winter months.
We expect to see the proportion of Omicron cases here in the United States continue to grow in the coming weeks.
Officials say existing booster shots are the best defense against infection. Dr. Fauci says there's no need for an Omicron-specific booster at this time, though recent studies show a third dose of Moderna and Pfizer provide more protection than the usual two-dose regimen. Starting today, masks are required indoors for parts of California, while New York City has expanded its vaccine requirement to children ages 5 to 11. Health officials say many of the new COVID cases in South Africa come from the Omicron variant. New research on nearly 80,000 cases finds the variant causes less severe illness, especially in vaccinated adults. But right now, a rise of COVID cases among children in South African hospitals is a worrying trend. Doctors on the front line put it down to high community transmission. They also say the previous surge of the Delta variant may be providing a silver lining now. High levels of naturally induced immunity could be why Omicron is so far less severe. Coming up, a new online threat to businesses, governments, and consumers. We'll tell you about it.
Tornadoes possible in Minnesota for the first time in December in history, and we've already had numerous tornadoes reported. 90-mile-per-hour gusts have already been reported. It's going to be a wild night for them. For us, winter storm conditions possible in our eastern counties. We could see over a foot. Your hour-by-hour forecast is next. We do have some impacts that could be potentially dangerous. Details right after this.